Ahead on Nightly, Norman voters prepare to select a new mayor and council members. The government predicts deadly impacts ahead from climate change. And you'll meet a Cleveland County preacher who's a real straight arrow. OU Nightly starts now. It's election eve here in Norman, and while the stakes don't match the national presidential campaigns, voters will be electing half of the city council members and will also select a new mayor.
That's right, Dylan. And after 9 years of serving as mayor, Cindy Rosenthal will step down after her term ends in June. Tomorrow, Norman voters will choose between 3 candidates who want to succeed her. Gary Barksdale, Lynn Miller, and Bobby Stevens all say they are invested in Norman's future.
Barksdale has goals for the city of Norman to focus its efforts on cleaning up the water and updating the ethics code. He also is in support of introducing a new tax plan for city improvements.
Lynn Miller, an OU alum and city councilwoman, has spent years serving the community of Norman. Her plans are to build on the water purification efforts in the city by implementing the strategic water supply plan and to improve Norman's transportation system.
Stevens wants to focus on the community's public safety by pushing for better equipped police vehicles that can serve all of Norman's wards. Stevens also wants Norman's government to be more transparent. Voting for all city council positions takes place tomorrow at local precincts. Polls are open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And also up for grabs tomorrow, 4 city council seats. Nightly, Stephen Mudd shows us the candidates and their platforms.
Matthew Leal is one of the 2 candidates running in Ward 2, and his plans are to help stop the flooding from Merkle Creek to Imhoff Creek and improve traffic flow along Lindsay. Running against Leal is Alicia Carhala, and the issue she focuses on is stormwater and how it is handled. Carhala also wants to add a stormwater fee to the city of Norman. Bill Hickman is running for the Ward 4 spot and wants to focus on the quality of Norman drinking water and the amount of party houses in the 4th Ward, including the enforcement of 3 unrelated persons living in a single home. Christina Owen, one of the 4 people running for the 4th Ward, wants to focus on being true to Norman, promoting small local businesses and having better education. Rhett Jones, like most of the city council candidates, wants to focus on the quality of the drinking water and the storm water control. Kyle Langford, the 4th candidate in the 4th Ward, turns his focus to the arts and culture industry of Norman while also preserving the historic neighborhoods. Bria Clark, one of the 3 candidates in Ward 6, hopes to bring change to the stormwater drainage and supply issues as well as public infrastructure. Jerry Lang, the incumbent for Ward 6, is sticking to his big idea of monitoring the city budget and improving the city infrastructure. OU grad and 6th Ward candidate Ashley McCrae is wanting to provide a voice for the minorities in Norman. McCrae wants to improve interaction between the youth and the senior community. The incumbent for Ward 8, Kyle Allison, is running unopposed and wants to better Norman by keeping it #1 in public safety and promote community businesses. Stephen Mudd, OU Nightly.
Norman voters will also vote on a $25 million bond for city improvements and several issues relating to Norman government. Voters in the Norman and Moore school districts will decide whether to approve a $60 million bond for improvements at the Moore Technical Center.
You know, Ashley, it was beautiful out there today. Temperatures were great, even though it was a little windy.
Slightly windy, but the sun was shining. It was glorious outside. Mandy Bailey, what can you tell us about tomorrow or even tonight?
Well, guys, you are right. It has been absolutely gorgeous out there. And something to note, we've had very warm temperatures all throughout today, even with a northerly wind. That's going to shift tomorrow. I'll have more on that coming up later in Maine weather. But even with those northerly winds, we still got very warm. We hit 82 here in Norman earlier. We might have even squeezed out an 83-degree temperature today. I think we'll expect about the same tomorrow. Tonight, though, we will be cooling down. 8 p.m., 73 degrees. Mostly clear skies to clear skies. We'll be clear all night. Midnight still 63 degrees since we were so warm today. Overnight lows aren't going to be dropping down too cold because we have been so warm. And that wind this evening, well, not too bad, 5 to 10 miles an hour, still from the north. That'll change tomorrow. I'll have more on what you can expect with fire weather and these dry and windy conditions that we're going to see later this week. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Mandy. OU Nightly's Rebecca Walters joins us now in the News Center with the latest on President Obama's global warming effects. Rebecca?
Dylan, the Obama administration released a report today detailing a long list of health risks involved with climate change. The EPA administrator says this isn't just about glaciers and polar bears. It's about the health of our family and kids. The report comes just 3 weeks before Obama is set to sign a controversial UN agreement to cut U.S. greenhouse gas emissions. And the Supreme Court handed a defeat to conservatives today in an important voters' right issue. The court upheld the method all 50 states use in drawing legislative districts by counting every resident and not just eligible voters. In doing so, the court rejected a conservative challenge that could have given more sway to rural white voters. And a boat with more than 200 migrants left Greece for Turkey today. That's because a European Union deal goes into effect today that will eventually deport over 4,000 illegal migrants. Under the plan, all migrants and refugees who came to the country since March 20th of this year will be deported to Turkey. That's what's happening around the world. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Rebecca. Still ahead on OU Nightly.
We will have a recap of the Sooners' disappointing defeat in Houston.
Plus, see how the art of archery brings one community together. Welcome back. Well, it was an emotional weekend for Sooner Hoops as they failed to get a win in the Lone Star State. Nightly's Annie Durbin has a story from Houston.
As Buddy Hield is sitting over there with his teammate Spangler and just so dejected. They're as shocked as we are.
Dejection. Disappointment. Villanova made 71% of their shots against the Sooners' D. This eventually led to depression.
It was disappointing. Very disappointing, but you know, you just feel like you just let everyone down, things like that. But you know, we still have our supporters. They still congratulate us on a great season. But what was going through my head, I was just numb. I was in shock that it was happening to us.
But Oklahoma started the game strong with a 3 by Buddy, but then it all went downhill from there, with the Wildcats hitting shot after shot, putting the Sooners down by 44 in the end.
It's tough, you know. We've never, you know, as a group, I don't think we've ever been beat by more than 12 here, you know. And so getting beat's hard enough, and getting beat by 40.
The Sooners came to Houston with a burning one to continue on to the final 2, but what it came down to was a lack of energy and missed shots.
We wasn't focused, or we just, I don't know. It was just a tough night for us. Shots wasn't going. We didn't play together on defense. It was just a tough night.
But those missed shots does not mean that there is not plenty for the Sooners to be proud of throughout their entire season. Annie Durbin, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Annie. We'll have more on OU's disappointing performance at the Final Four later on in sports.
Bringing the community together one arrow at a time. OU Nightly's Reagan Ledbetter tells us about one shop owner's passion for others.
There is more to a local pastor than meets the eye. He aims to hit 2 targets with 1 arrow. Greg Mack of Slaughterville, Oklahoma is also the owner of an archery shop, Triple C Archery.
Well, we started it 4 years ago, and it was actually a ministry outreach at the church. I was teaching a program kind of like the Archery in Schools program at the Slaughterville Baptist Church, and I was trying to figure out a way to help some of the kids and stuff get into the archery program and get their equipment and stuff at a little bit less expense.
The name of the shop clearly shows where Mac's passions lie.
We still do a lot of ministry outreach out here, and that's what the Triple C stands for, is Character, Commitment, Christ. I still teach archery at the church a couple times a year and set up a range to do that. I have kids that come in here all the time that are shooting with Archery in the Schools programs and 4-H programs, and if they come in and tell me that they're working with one of those programs, well, You know, I do a lot of work on their bows.
You come in and you feel like family's already here. You come in and it's just so, it's about you. It's not about making money. It's not about the business. It's about whoever comes in helping them the best way that he can. And that's what he does. Every person he comes in and he talks to him. He doesn't try to sell any particular product. He's really open to everything and making sure that the customer gets what the customer needs.
Whether it is in the church, the shop, or in the field, Mac is succeeding in creating a community atmosphere through the sport of archery, one arrow at a time. Reagan Ledbetter, OU Nightly.
Mac looks forward to continuing his work and making a difference with his love for archery.
Well, still ahead on OU Nightly.
We'll have a full recap of Sooner Hoops' Final Four appearance and how one Sooner received an award of a lifetime.
But first, let's take a live look outside on the South Oval. We've had beautiful conditions today, blue skies. Mandy Bailey is next, and she'll tell you how long this weather is here to stay.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Mandy Bailey, and we're taking a live look outside of the South Oval. Notice how green the trees are. Everything is blooming. It has been a beautiful spring day. Unfortunately, though, this dry weather, we haven't seen a whole lot of rain outside, and that means that the drought is really creeping back into Oklahoma, now including portions of Oklahoma City. This is updated every Thursday, so this is Thursday's recent data, and we haven't seen rain very much at all this year, especially not in March. Now that we're in April, I'm hoping that we'll start to see some rain coming through. Unfortunately, though, in the next several days, it's looking very dry and windy for many of us. Tomorrow, you can expect winds from 45 to 50 miles an hour for gusts. Now, this isn't going to be sustained wind speeds. This is just going to be gusts, but you're going to want to keep that in mind if you're outside tomorrow. So that does include portions of Oklahoma City and Norman. Off to our east, still 40 to 45 mile an hour gusts expected. And as you head off to west or eastern Oklahoma, that does start to dwindle down a little bit. But this is going to really aid in our fire danger for tomorrow. These dry conditions and very high winds mean that fire danger is going to be very high tomorrow. Highest concerns, though, are going to be in western Oklahoma. That does creep into portions of the Oklahoma City metro. We're still going to have a high fire risk for tomorrow as well. The Weather Service has issued a red flag warning until effect till Tuesday night at 9 o'clock, as well as a wind advisory in effect until Tuesday at 9 o'clock. So that's not in effect today, but starting later on in tonight and early morning hours, that will go in effect for tomorrow as well. Now, coming through on Tuesday, though, we've been so dry. Thankfully, we have some low rain chances in the forecast, about a 20% chance of some rain and storms here in Oklahoma City and Norman. Unfortunately, though, those aren't going to be a major washout by any means, just a few light showers expected late Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning for your commute. Now, lows tonight, though, staying warm since we've been so warm across the state today. Mid-50s for the majority of us, and tomorrow we'll have yet another warm day. 83 degrees by your 4 p.m. hour, and across the entire state, we're going to see very similar temperatures in the 80s for all of us, and we might even see a few places reach 90 degrees in far southwestern Oklahoma. So don't be surprised by that tomorrow. Now, thankfully, we have spring weather here without the severe weather. No major rain chances on the forecast for the next 7 days. A few light showers Tuesday night and maybe later on this weekend, but plenty of sunshine for our week.
Thanks, Mandy. Those temperatures look great.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Well, it's been 2 days since the end of Sooner Hoops season, but there is much to discuss. Lindy Simpson, what do you have for us?
Well, OU's baseball and softball were impressive this weekend on the diamond. And men's basketball team could do nothing as Villanova shot lights out in the Final Four match. OU Nightly Sports is next.
I'm Nola Allinger at the Update Desk with the latest on what's going on in Oklahoma politics. A bill intended to collect more sales tax cleared the Oklahoma House panel today. The bill will hopefully capture some of the estimated annual $150 million in unpaid sales tax. And Oklahomans might be able to pick up full-strength beer and wine in their grocery and convenience stores. The panel to discuss this is scheduled to meet and talk about this issue on Wednesday. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
The name is Funnel. Lisa Funnel, the James Bond in the classroom. One OU professor uses the franchise to show the changing roles of race and gender over the last 6 decades.
I have loved these films since I was a child. I grew up watching these films with my dad. We would have Sunday dinners in front of the TV where we could pick, any film that we wanted, and we would always watch the Roger Moore James Bond films. Something that keeps us connected still today. And so for my master's thesis, I actually examined the Bond girl phenomenon. I kept studying James Bond, partly because they kept making Bond films. They came out with Casino Royale, and then Quantum of Solace, and then Skyfall, and with every film that came out, I realized I had more and more to say about the franchise. When I came here, I went through the same process where I approached my chair and said, hey, would you be interested in a gender and James Bond course? So we decided to try it out as an online course first to see if there's any sort of student interest. And the course did really, really well. I was teaching multiple sections of it. I had many students say to me, can't I take this in class with you? I felt that there were conversations that we still needed to have. And so we did move it into the classroom, and it has been an amazing experience. I always encourage my students to follow their passion. If you love doing it, then it doesn't feel like work.
Funnel said she tried to pitch the class at her last university, but OU was first to make her own dream class come true.
What a great story. Well, before we head out, Mandy, let's take a quick look at the fire danger. What do you have?
Well, because we are going to be so windy and it is so dry this week, fire danger for tomorrow is going to be very, very high. Winds could gust up to 50, 60 miles an hour. Even on Wednesday, it's going to be high as well, so just keep that in mind as you're heading through your week.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College here at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night, live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.